the amount of time that my students can talk and respond because they will just make faces because they're younger students. It can go short as 15 seconds down to 5 minutes. It automatically is a 1 minute, 30 seconds. On here, you can type your directions if you want to, or prompt for answering a question, whatever there. So I'm just going to put hello. Oops. Here, right here is the focus. And this is what automatically is there. So I'm going to delete the focus. And this is where you can add, it says optional, obviously, lots of other resources for them. So you can record a video, which I will hit that and show you. It's just like this, recording a video to your students in Flipgrid. And some features in that video recording that's also available in the student response are these. There are filters that change the color they can play with, or if they do not want to be seen, they can make themselves pixelated. They can also right here add in a, change the color, but add a text or information. They can do fun things like add different stickers. There are people, all kinds of things, glasses, words, and other stickers they could add onto their video. They can also add this, and you can also, obviously, and then they can also add it. They take their picture to show you their selfie. Right here, this is where Heather was talking today. You want to talk about when the students are recording the response, or how you use the sticky notes?
Sure. So the sticky notes, the thing she just clicked on there, it does not show up in their video. So like when you're watching their final video after they've submitted, you don't see their sticky note. For our older kids, we use it. I don't know, the youngers, it might be a little more difficult, but the older ones, we tell them to write their bullet points of like what their points are going to be in their video, what they want to say, almost like a script. It keeps from having a lot of ums in your video or pauses, or our kids will just start over and record the same video 15 times until they feel like it's perfect. So we just tell them to use that as your notes, your bullet points, so that like it looks like you're looking right at the camera, but really you are reading the things that you want to be in your video.
So you could use that as a teacher so you don't forget what you're going to say, and then the students could also use that when they're recording their video response, because their response looks just like this. So I'm kind of doubling up and showing you how you record yourself, but the students have the same features. This one I haven't used a lot. Heather talked about that a little bit today, using the whiteboard for students that may not want to show their face. So you can white it out completely. And I know that some other teachers use that feature for students recording responses. Is that correct, Heather? Have you used it with students?
So we use it, I teach math. So in math, we use it because a lot of times I'll have kids explain how to solve a problem and they can work it out on the whiteboard feature. So you still hear their voice the whole time. You just don't see their face. So they can write, like if they have the touch screen, it's much easier with the touch screen, but they can use the cursor also to like solve out a problem. A lot of times my kids that just don't want to show their face will use the whiteboard feature, and they will just type out even sometimes what they want to say. And that's okay.
And then, of course, you can clear everything out, and then you can go back to no feature. So those are, and this feature is a custom sticker. Obviously, we don't use that. I don't know if you've had anybody even take the time to download any feature to cover up their face, a sticker or something, but that's what that is. So once you're ready, you hit record. It counts down for you. And then you're recording your video of whatever. If you mess up, you can hit redo, and this is what that looks like. And then you can try again and count down and record your video. You can pop these up when you're talking also, so don't think that you have to have it all ready. You can add the things as you go if there's something you're looking for. Then hit next when you're done recording. It shows your video. You can add more. You can pause it, obviously. Here's add more. So if you need to add more to it. So there's just some different features you can do with that. And the more right here. Then you take a selfie or your picture right here, and you can add the stickers also to that. So I guess I'll go ahead and do that. And then you can add the same stickers, the same choices as the video, and hit next. And you've completed that, and this is what the students, this is what they are seeing. And so when they click that, they're going to hear everything that you recorded, whether you're talking, reading a book, teaching a lesson, demonstrating something. This is the video that they can see.
A lot of times I make a video as an example of what I want them to do. And one more thing I want to add, just sorry, going back a little bit on the time, I have found like when you're choosing how long you're going to give them to make a video, if you give them 5 minutes, they're going to use 5 minutes.
Yes.
So if you really just want a very short, concise answer, like 30 seconds, literally. Otherwise, they feel the need to fill all of that time. So just kind of a heads up.
I agree. That's why I put 1 minute or 30 seconds for my little people, because then they're just making faces and being silly, or, you know,
They do it as they get older too. It doesn't.
Yeah, off topic, all kinds of things. So besides recording a video here to input straight from Flipgrid, you can upload a video. So if you have done a screencastify or a lesson using something else and you have saved it, you can upload a video. Willie was talking about the YouTube link, and so were you, Heather, that they might have trouble sometimes with it being blocked currently or something like that. So if you have trouble, make sure you let someone know that.
Yeah, I think Willie this morning said to email Brian. We had uploaded some YouTube links, some videos, kind of more of like a hook for lessons. And when students were trying, they worked for us, but when students were trying to open them, they were blocked. So he said that email Brian Fuqua and just let him know he can unblock that for you.
That's what it was. I was like, I can't remember. This one does not work, Willie said, because it's blocked through our school. And I'm trying to think of these other features. Did you say there's not, Willie, on what were some of the other things you were letting us know about this morning? Is he there still?
I don't know if he's still there. I think he said there wasn't very much on the Bunsey.
No, I thought that's what I was thinking. Adobe Spark, you can make a video and upload that, or do clip art or pictures or media. If I don't have a video to upload with the younger students, sometimes I simply find an emoji that works with the topic that we're talking about, and I put that in the screen. Oh, here's like animals. We do animals, so that they just know that that's where they're going. It's more of a visual tool for them than anything. So you can add all kinds of these different resources in to your focus. It does not have to be like the video or the recording on Flipgrid that I just did. Then if you go down here, I've also done some additional links or attachments. Whether you have something in Google Save that you want your students to work on, or another video, or Google Docs. I can't remember. I've done a video here or just up there. What else have you used this link for?
For me, sometimes I've uploaded, if I have like a Google, I want them to like maybe input their answers also in a Google Doc. I will just share the link in there as well. I don't use it often, honestly, that much.
I haven't used it but like once or twice. So yeah, it's not something I use a whole lot. So you can add a title and add those links there also. Down here are the features that you probably are really interested in. Also, this video moderation is one where I was talking about privacy, and that was a question that kind of came up with hacking in. I know that in kindergarten, Catherine Midget has used this. So when you turn it on, it says the videos will be hidden from the students until you activate. Well, she turned this on so that no student could see other students' videos when they got into the grid because she was using it as an assessment tool. So they could not hear the answers or practice off of someone else's answer. And you don't necessarily have to make that ever active. So if you want to use it as an assessment tool, and that way you sure can. It will be only shared with you. You are the only one that can view it that way so that other students can't see their answers. Did you use this in another way also?
I used it. So like right now, currently, I created a grid for my students where it's literally just a place they can go in and ask me any questions if they're about like maybe their assignments they're doing at home, or if they're just, they can't figure out how to work something, anything like that. So, but I let them know. I made it moderated because some kids are more timid. They're not going to ask a question, especially like an academic question, if they're afraid that someone else is going to see it or make fun of them, things like that. So I let them know up front that that grid is moderated. So any video question they have for me, that I'm the only one that sees it. And I think that allows them to feel a little more comfortable being vulnerable like that. I do, though, you can, and I've done this before, if I have students that sometimes they choose not so appropriate videos to leave, or they're not, I will moderate them, and then I can activate it for everyone to see once I've approved it. So that's another option you have. If you want to just moderate it to begin with, you can then later make it active so everyone can see it if you approve the video.
So yeah, that's another good point. And this will show up so they know it's moderated.
Yes.
The kids will know that by that hand will also be there. Allowing students to reply video to another student. With the little kids, don't, simply just because they're 5 and 6, 7 years old, and they would spend their whole time doing that instead of either listening to other student replies or even making their own video. But I know other teachers use this feature for like using the student to be the teacher to help out. How do you use this in your classroom, Heather?
I don't leave this on very often because you're right. They'll spend 20 minutes after they've made their 30-second video responding to everybody else's videos. I do, though, let them know when they respond to a video, I can see their response. So that kind of hinders a little bit of the silliness because I get to see all those. Yeah. But I know our ELAR teachers have used it before. Like students will read their writing piece, and then they will allow students to use constructive feedback for them. And so, I mean, there are great ways to use it. It's just, I think you need to think about what is the purpose. And if there's really not a good purpose for the students to be leaving feedback, I don't think it's necessary.
Yes, I agree. And that's a lot of times this is just automatically off for me. And so this means off, obviously. You can make your topic active, frozen, or hidden. So again, if you want to freeze it for a little bit so that you have some time to, is this like to catch up, right? Or to look at it?
Or they can see it, but they can't add to it. They can't respond to it, anything like that.
Right. So mostly for that. And then hidden just means they can't see it yet. And then dates, I do put dates on mine, especially if you have an assignment, I definitely put a start and an end date. But another thing I've noticed, then if I leave this open and it's in their Google Classroom and I don't remove it or I archive it or hide it in their Google Classroom, then they'll still go back and add one or play with it. And so you definitely probably want to set an end date. And then that when they go to click on it, it actually gives them a message that says this. I don't know if it says this grid is closed. I can't remember what exactly it says, but basically they can't add to it. And then down here, there are different video features that you allow the students to do. This one says selfies and videos. Students can add filters, stickers, drawings, or text to their videos and selfies. So sometimes I let them only do selfies only, but a lot of times it's on both of this. I limit and teach them to only add 2 stickers or emojis to their selfies. In the video mode, I try and not have the little kids add all of the things in the video. I simply want them to record. That's like a wish. I wish there was that. I would love for Flipgrid to have like a primary, I don't know what you even want to call it, but a primary feature and then an intermediate feature or even advanced feature depending on the age level, so that there aren't so many buttons for them just to click everything and play with, because that's what I run into a lot. So they've just been taught like, no, we're not doing that. Or sometimes when I let them do that, then I go back and have them watch and sit down with them, and they realize, oh gosh. And I said, now everybody can see that. So them just realizing that everybody can see your responses is really good, because I think sometimes they're recording it and no one's seeing it, so they can think they can be as funny as possible, and then they get really embarrassed when they know that everybody just saw that. So this is adding titles and hashtags. I don't usually allow video titles with little kids, but you might want to add that depending on whatever assignment you are doing in topic, or if you're part of a rubric, maybe you're wanting them to make a title so that you know what they are covering. If you have a rubric on there, you can add that in. Video count, number of times of videos you can viewed. I mean, you can choose to do that. Sticky notes. Usually I turn that off also, but I know, like Heather said, she uses it sometimes while they're recording to help them. So you might want that on there. I usually turn off the video editing where the students can trim and rearrange their video clips, because I don't want them making a bunch of little clips. So then I usually turn that feature off. External link I usually turn off, but the older kids may need that on for documentation or whatever kind of project you might be doing that you might want, especially if you do give them a rubric to follow of research, you might want to leave that on. And I usually turn this feature most of the time off. It's just getting them to like other students' videos. And it's just for the sake, again, of time. Is there anything on here, Heather, that you use a lot or that you've used to talk about?
Not really. I usually kind of leave this one alone. I mean, with our kids being a little bit older, we've done a lot of like Flipgrid etiquette and like the likes and things like that. So it's not that bad for ours. I do edit. I mean, Maya Thomas loves to edit videos all day long, and she's actually pretty good at it. The sticky notes, again, for the older ones, I think they're really handy. It helps them like get their thoughts down. Even for me, when I make videos, sometimes I will use that as well so that I can stay on topic and focus.
After you have those, you come down here and it says feedback. So this is provide feedback on a response base. Like I can go in and respond to the student's video, or you can make it custom and you can add a rubric or criteria on here. So when you click that, here's a title, description, your score, and then push. No, I have to type in something here. And create a rubric of your information there. So you can also do that. And of course you can edit it at any time.
I will say the great thing about the rubric is when your kids, once you've activated it and you put all your categories in there, and we basically took paper rubrics we had. And I know our ELAR teachers took like the writing rubric and they just scaled it down a little bit to make it fit in here. Unfortunately, on Flipgrid, you can only leave 4 categories and you can only have up to 10 points maximum, but we just kind of make it work for now. We've just taken paper rubrics we've had over time, put them into here. And then once your student leaves a video, you can go in and grade it for them right there on their video. And then they can immediately see that feedback. So it is very handy.
I'm just going to push update. So after you've done that, you have updated the topic. And, oh, I didn't put a picture or anything because I forgot, but this is what it looks like. Let me go in here and I'm going to add a picture or something. I forgot that we had deleted a bunch of different things. I'll just put an animal in there. And I have it moderated, obviously, right here because I had that selected, but this is kind of the big picture of what it looks like. And this is where it will read it to you if you need to know that. And it will listen. I mean, it will read, sorry, anything you type out there. So I've taught my little kids to hit that. If they can't read, they can listen to the directions that way. Sharing, I guess, would be our next feature, right? Or well, We did the whole grid. You don't usually just share this part. You share the whole grid, correct, Heather?
I do. For the older kids, I think it's fine to just share the whole grid because then they can find the topic you're on. For the littles, I would probably just share the individual topic.
Yeah. So you can share just this inside of your topic, or you can share your whole grid. I'm not sure if that's making sense, but this is your whole grid. Like here's your file, here's your sub file. You can share the whole file and they can see the topics under each of them, or you can share just your topic. You can change, oh, maybe you can't. Can you change the name on here? I don't think I ever
You
have.
can when you edit. If you go into edit, that.
Oh, you can change it. Okay. So when I go into edit,
Maybe.
maybe might be going.
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought you could. Maybe not.
Maybe you can't inside the grid. I think you can just do the grid.
Maybe that's right. It's just the grid. On this one, they have to have that unique code.
Yeah, I think so. So you can just share this itself or the whole grid. I honestly don't put a lot of topics inside of my grids with the little kids. I try and keep it simple, but right here is where you can add and have multiple topics inside of one grid. Like if this was the Adkins math, like I said earlier, Heather was talking about how she might have, I don't know if you have by lesson or like Monday, Tuesday. I'm thinking for everything going on now, you might have Monday, Tuesday,
Right.
Thursday, Friday, and the lessons and all their activities under here with math. I don't know how you're organizing it right now.
Yes, typically, in normal classroom, I just have a math grid, and for each of my classes, and I have it labeled Kane Math. They know that they can just go to flipgrid.com, put in Kane Math, and it will take them to their grid, but it's going to list every single topic I've done in there unless I've hidden it or frozen it from them. But they're older, so they're easily, I can say, go into Flipgrid, you're going to do this activity, and they can do that very well. It's not been a problem at all. I could see how with littles, though, that you would probably want to just give them the link to a specific topic. You can do that. Like you can share that for me with Schoology. I can copy that link that it gives when you hit the share button and just put it directly into Schoology. It's just like a URL almost that you can put in there. That's what I do for kids that do have trouble at the beginning of the year when they were having difficulty. Now they've learned it and I don't even have to give them the link, but you can just copy it, and I think into Google Classroom as well.
What I usually do in Google Classroom, honestly, is share the whole grid because I don't have more than one assignment. If you're going to use this during this time, and parents are usually helping, or someone who can read is usually helping the little kids, so you really could probably do Adkins Math and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday assignments on there because the parents can read that are helping them. I have taught my kids some picture clue hints and things like that when I was teaching kindergarten and in Makerspace with what to look for that day in my Google Classroom, but that's something I'll show you here in just a second. So when you're done, this is kind of what it looks like on the teacher side. So when you're ready to share it, if you are going to share your whole grid with the topics inside of it, you hit share. Then right here, you can do multiple ways to share it. You can copy the link and share that out. Is that how you share it in?
Yes, in Schoology, I just copy the link and just literally upload the link into Schoology in their course.
What I do is share with Google Classroom. So here's my Google Classroom. I choose my class. Let's say it's first grade. I'm going to choose an action. You can make it an announcement that they just go to. I really create an assignment. I hit go. This is where you could title it. So I'm going to call this test. What I do also, up in the corner, if you download the emoji keyboard, I add emojis to my assignments on all of them. So that helps those that can't read. I'm going to say, go to the picture that has the animals. We're talking about animals today. So they don't necessarily, if they're having trouble reading, I don't put a lot of instructions here just because our students don't need that. Over here, All of my things are ungraded just because I'm in the library. I did not grade my students' Flipgrids in kindergarten either. It's a lot of just using technology, teaching skills, and seeing what they can do. I sometimes do put due dates in assignments, just like on the Flipgrid. I want it to end at a certain time. And then I hit assign to assign it. Sometimes I copy the link and go and right into Google Classroom, just like Schoology, and assign it that way. I mean, there's just two, it's the same thing. It's just whatever's easier for you and what you like to do. If you want to share this with parents, you can also copy this code and give that to them, or it can generate this QR to scan for them to get into that link. Again, we have the settings set where you have to have be logging in with your school email, so it's not public. So the parents, if you want the parents themselves to be able to get on, you'll have to probably make it public. And you can edit that by hitting this edit button and changing it right here. You want to talk through the mixtapes and how you use those like you did this morning, Heather?
Yeah, I can. Let's see.
Okay, so I'll
remember how to share my screen.
It should be like wiggle your mouse down at the very bottom.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I don't know why it's not letting me. Let's see.
I had trouble earlier. Like I had to go to your face and then kind of go down a little bit. It took me a minute for it to find it with all these, I guess with so many people on. I don't know.
I don't know why it's not. Okay, let's try again. Let's see. Share. Why will it not let me do this?
Well, yeah, and I got out of it. Do you want me to go back to my?
Sorry. Yeah, if you don't mind, I don't know why it's telling me.
I sure can, and I'll just click and you talk like we did earlier. I just thought maybe. Okay, I'll go back. I'll go to present, and I'll go back to the grid. Okay, there you go. You just tell me. You go to Mixtapes.
So Mixtapes, this is like, well, that is like if you want to upload for parents. So like every video, for me, what I've done at the very beginning of the year, I made a mixtape for each student. So just add new mixtape, type in their name, and it creates it for them. Then, yeah, if you want, you don't necessarily have to do that. Then once they make a video and you're looking at their video, there's literally, it looks like a little cassette tape in the corner. And if you click on that, you can just add it to their mixtape. So basically what it's doing, any video that they've made all year long, you have to do it, but you can go in and I just click that cassette and it assigns it to their tape, and then it downloads it. And at open house, I gave a QR code to all the parents that linked to every video their kid made to that point. You can I plan on doing it at the end of the year too, but that's just a neat way to save all your kids' video and a good way to see their progress throughout the year. For Disco Library, this is awesome. So if you go at the top, you go to Disco Library. This is like hundreds of already made grids that are shared on here. You can do that. Like I do that sometimes when I make a grid, I share it to the Disco Library, and it takes a little bit. They have to approve it, but so other teachers can use it. So instead of reinventing the wheel, if you scroll down a little bit,
okay,
there you go. You can search. So you can search by audience. So like, what is your age level? You can search by subject, and then you can just search topics. Usually I start there. I just type in if I'm doing Constitution or something for social studies. And if you search, it will give you every video or topic grid that's already been made about Constitution. So then what I do is I go through, look at them, find one if there's one I like or I like most of it. Then if you click on it, let's see, you can just click on one. It doesn't matter. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Go to the Disco Library. This.
We'll click over closer, not on the name.
Oh,
there you go.
Sorry.
So I can select what grid I want to put that on, like that I've already created. So a place that's already under mine, that little blue drop down box says select grid. She could add it to one that she already has. You don't have to. Once you do that, it transfers it over there for you, and then you can edit it to fit your needs. So I've never taken a topic from the Disco Library and used it as it was. I've always tweaked it a little bit to work with my class. But it's so much less work for me than creating one from nothing. There's tons of great ideas already out there. Just use those, and just tweak it a little bit to make it work for your class. So it's super easy. If you want to close that, I'll go all the way back up towards the top of this screen. The Flipgrid weekly hits kind of right there. I like to look at those when I have some free time. So, maybe once a week I look through there. That just means those are grids from the Disco library that have been the most used this week. And so obviously to me, that tells me they're really good. There's a lot of teachers seeing benefit from them. So I go there and see if there's some good ones you can use. But again, you don't have to use it exactly like it is. You think of it as like a template. You add it to your grid and then tweak it to make it work for you. So that's a great place to look, especially if you're getting started and you're like, I don't even know where to make one. Flip hunts, which is kind of the new thing. They're a little more involved. You're making several topics within one. There's some great ones in here already. So you don't have to start from nothing.
They've added so many, because when I first got started, I could search a lot of different things and there was nothing for little kids. So I kind of quit doing it because I just made my own, but honestly, I haven't taken the time to look through these since it's grown so much, and there's a lot more than there used to be.
And I really recommend, if you make one, share it to the Disco library. All it does is is a little button on yours that you can say share to Disco library. And or you can add a topic up there at the top too. They have to approve it, which just takes a couple of days, but then it's just feel like you're, helping out and sharing something you've made. Somebody else won't have to do it. And then when you find one on there, don't feel so bad for using it, because I've shared mine too.
Awesome. The other thing that came up this morning as a great question is, if I've already made a grid in the past, can I re-share that grid or reuse that grid another year? It's very similar to what she just walked through. Yes, you can. You can duplicate it, or you can reshare it if you do not want the students' videos in there from last year. Or, for example, the superhero one I did in library that has 229 videos, I don't need to add even more to that. Right. And so you can duplicate it under actions, duplicate the grid. No videos will be duplicated, duplicate it. And then if there are features or things, again, that this did take a little while, but not terribly long, that you would like to change from the grid that you even made, you can still edit those grids. Mm-hmm. It does take it a while to show up, but that's all you have to do on duplicating it. Can you think of any other questions, Heather, that we got that were really good to cover from this morning? And then we'll open it up for questions.
I can't really think of anything.
I was trying to remember to hit all of our questions because you might have the same ones. So I guess I'll open it up. You can unclick your mic if you want to, or you can type. I'll start.
So as y'all are thinking about those questions, one thing I do want to point out and say is that I don't want to say that. Want to make sure. So we're trying to have it where we have kind of like our tiered kind of communication or video communication with our students. Okay. So I know that you've been to some Google Meet trainings that we've done. And then you've also done the Schoology conferences, which is 4 through 12. So those are those live events where all your students can be there together at the same time. But as we know, that's not always the case, that not all students are able to be a part of those different types of events all the time. And so we want to make sure that using things like Flipgrid, okay, that's our number one go-to for the asynchronous learning, where you are posting your videos or posting your lessons or things like that if you want to do a video lesson, and then students can respond to it, but they can also, if you want them to, respond to each other through Flipgrid. So that's a really good way for y'all to be able to utilize the video when it comes to working with your students, and also for them to be able to learn from each other. And so, like I said, just keep that in mind. I know a lot of people are scheduling the live webinars or web sessions with the kids, which is great because they get to all talk to each other kind of at the same time. But this is something you can do all the time, anytime. So be thinking about that as you're doing Flipgrid. And so also, if you go to our YouTube channel, you will be able to find, which is the Robinson ISD YouTube, or well, actually, I'd go to both YouTube channels if it was me. And this is where so things that we've been talking about, like one of them here, there's your Flipgrid instructional videos that we've been putting out there. And this video here is I've recorded it as well, the meet that we're in. So you'll be able to view that later. We'll upload that to our channel and all the different playlists and videos that we have. So if you will go and subscribe and hit that notification bell, ding, that way you will get notified on your phone or on your email that another video has been uploaded. And also, like I said, to our Robinson ISD channel that we have, Rockets Never Quit Learning. This is what we put out to the district for your parents, for them to be able to log in, any instructional informational stuff that's going on throughout the district. You have the Rocket Report and all that stuff as well. That is on our district YouTube channels that we have available. And I do want to share one Flipgrid thing here with you real quick. So we kind of talked about, I'll answer. Okay, let me share this and then I'll have them answer that question here, Jim.
Okay.
So I'm not a big writer per se, but I do like to journal. And one of the things that I will do is use Flipgrid to kind of journal how things are going in my life. So at the end of the day, this one is called Man in the Mirror, daily reflection that I do, which once again, I made a grid and I just in a topic, and I just do a response to it as much and as often as I can. So this is something that your students could do as well as we're gone. If they want to be able to start their own personal reflection type journal. The only person that can see this is me. This grid is locked down to me. You have to have a code to get in to be able to see and use. So like I said, this is something that I do and I use on daily. So all right. So Jim wants to know, repeat how I invite a class to create and upload an assigned Flipgrid video.
Okay, can everyone see this screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so once you have created a grid, this is the practice one we created, you're going to hit share. And then right here, it gives you a code. You can copy the code and upload it on Schoology, or you can copy the code and share it right here. Well, actually, you wouldn't have to even upload. You could copy the code straight to Google Classroom and assignment that way. Or if you need to, you can click the QR code for the students to scan, for example, on their computers or their iPads, to go straight to the grid, depending, remember, on how you set the allowance here. If you want parents or people that don't have their email addresses ending like this, you're going to need to make it public, which means it's open for anybody, which also gets you into making sure that if someone would get on outside of Robinson, that they have permission to be on public platforms. You got to be careful of that too. Or a school email, and I limit mine almost always to school email, because the students now especially have, even the little ones can get on with their school email with Clever Card, and now the parents know what those are also. Did that answer your question? Great. Anybody else have any other questions before we get ready to end this session? If you want any help, you're welcome to email me. If you want to do your own Flipgrid and try and practice and share it with me through email or somehow for me to practice back and forth with you before you do it for students, I'm happy to help you, or anything like that, just let me know. Guess not. So I hope you guys are all staying well and healthy, and the sun is shining. So it's my goal this afternoon to get outside since we've been on the computers most of the day.
There's an outside?
I know.
Oh,
The
wow.
sun is shining. Can you believe it?
Interesting. One time outside only. That's right. Don't
Yeah,
don't
one
go
time
too far. Lockdown. All right, guys. Thank y'all very much. Have a great rest of the day. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to us at any point and any time throughout the day. All right. Take it easy.